Hey everyone, welcome back to PR and Test Drive. Today we're going to do a little bit of a more casual video going over 10 things you need to know about this 2024 Genesis GV60 Performance. Number 1. This vehicle is built on the same platform that the Kia EV6 as well as the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6 is built on and is Hyundai's dedicated EV platform. The GV60 is so far the only fully dedicated EV vehicle in the lineup. The GV70 electrified and the G80 electrified are both built based on the gasoline platform. In the back here, there is actually two planes of glass, one here as well as one there. So it's a little bit reminiscent of what you find in older generation Priuses. Which brings me to point number 2. Despite this vehicle being a dedicated EV, you should expect a large front space. However, no, that's wrong. Because down in the front area, you actually only get this much space for your extra storage. I feel like Genesis could have done a little bit of a better job packaging the electrics down here, because there are quite a lot of space down here. It's packed with, electrical cables and stuff like that, but there are more space. If they could just package it a little bit better and offer a bit more of the front space, that would be fantastic. The front of this vehicle kind of looks a little bit like a dolphin with this little bulge here, which I think overall this vehicle looks very bubbly and cute. Number 3. The front brakes on this vehicle is humongous. It's using 4-piston calipers up front, which provides a great amount of braking force. In addition to all the regenerative braking power that's coming from the electric motors. One thing, however, is that the tires uses Michelin Primacy all-season tires, which is undeserving of this performance nameplate. Before we enter the vehicle with number 4 of what you need to know, there's also a face recognition camera here and fingerprint scanner that you can set up to get into your car as a biometric lock. The interior, so luxurious. That's point number 4. The materials in this vehicle is amazing. The diamond quilted leather, Napa leather, as well as all of the Alcantara suede materials, including the roof line, is amazing. Such good quality, such good build quality in this vehicle. Everything is soft to the touch. You get plenty of ambient lighting at night, and then these suede material also looks and feels really, really amazing. The sunroof cannot be opened, but it's big enough and it gives you a nice open feeling. The seats are also adjustable, plenty of reclination adjustments, and it brings me to point number 5. There is a lot of storage in the cabin itself. If you look down here, there is a huge storage compartment in the center console. So much storage space in this vehicle. It is a smaller crossover, but I still get plenty of legroom, and in the front as well, a lot of storage space. Just take a look at that open transmission tunnel space. There's even more space that you could get to down here. It's a little bit difficult to put things in there, but if you have a big handbag or something like that, that would be the perfect spot. One complaint is that even though this white interior, ash gray interior looks phenomenal, the bright color and light color carpets is extremely easy to get dirty, and I don't know how I feel about cleaning the car every 2 minutes. Aside from that, the interior quality is built phenomenally. I really like it. Point number 6, the software. The software on this vehicle is fine, but it's not the best. No wireless Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto just yet. You get decent EV information. Like here, you get some charging station information, or a neat little chart that shows you how much electricity you're using. Electronics, we're using 1 kilowatt right now. Climate, we're using 0.8, so on and so forth. What's really clunky and I don't like is the cluster controls. You get this little touchpad here that is a little bit confusing to use. There's 2 of these widgets here that, you know, if you swipe left and right, that's actually music changing songs. But if you press on it and then you see this highlight, you can scroll left and right to change other things. It's just a little bit clunky to use and not very user-friendly. Now that we're on the road, let's get right into point number 7, the VGS system. What does VGS stand for? It stands for Virtual Gear Shift. What it essentially does is put your electric car back into a gasoline car version with a transmission. It's like, what I call this is the video game mode. Basically, I press this button, which I can set up, and now I'm in D5, which means I'm in 5th gear, and the paddle shifters, instead of regen braking, now turns into gear shifts. And what's really cool about this, despite of all the gimmicky stuff, yeah, you know, it's not a gasoline car, so it doesn't have a transmission, so it shouldn't have a transmission, is that it gives you force feedback. It feels like a proper transmission in here. If you don't shift in 1st gear, you actually hit a limiter and it stops accelerating. And then when you shift, it gives you a lunge, and it's all really, really cool. And then what's also cool is that if you decide to accelerate from a slow speed, from 7th gear, you floor it and it doesn't move, because that's how it would be in a regular gasoline car. This is all just party trick. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool to play with every now and then, but a little bit extra on Genesis' side to put this in place. I think what would make it more engaging, more fun, like a PlayStation, would be if I can choose different engine sounds, because this engine sound is not the best sounding fake engine anyway. So point number 8, this vehicle has over 480 horsepower if you put it in boost mode, and of course we're gonna have to test it out. Now on boost mode, holy moly. Okay, now that we're in some turns, let's slap this into sport mode, because it handles pretty decent. It's definitely fun to drive. Not as fun as a EV6 GT per se, but quite fun nonetheless. The suspension is point number 9. The suspension tuning, the damping is very, very good. It's an adaptive damping system, and going over bumps, I feel super, super comfortable. I think they've done a really good job. Genesis have done a really, really good job making this feel very luxurious and sprinkle in a little bit of performance when you want it. Number 10. The last thing that I want you guys to know about this vehicle is, of course, the efficiency of this Genesis GV60. When you're not messing about and flooring it all the time, using all 480 or so horsepower, you actually get a pretty decent efficiency. On the highway, I was able to manage about 20 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, and in the city, depending on how much you floor the vehicle, I actually managed to get a little bit lower than 20, so about 18 or so. But of course, if you act like a fool, just like me, stepping on it all the time, it's easily up in the 30s. Anyway, that wraps it up for us today here on Test Drive. Hope you enjoyed this POV video. The camera angle is probably out of sync now because the launch was so hard, but nonetheless, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.